Hi, my name's Jame, and welcome to day 16 of my Build a Day challenge. Yesterday we finished off the cathedral and just the area as a whole for the sort of fantasy magical area with all the amethyst and whatnot. And today we're just going to go back to building random stuff wherever, basically. Um, Today I'm going to be building a cafe. I've cleared out a flat space here already, just beside where the wizard tower was. Or still is. It's not going anywhere. Um, and yeah, I'm probably going to try and use some slightly different materials than I have been using. For a lot of the builds that are sort of more modern, I tend to aim towards your fairly standard black and white colors. So I'm going to go for some more brick and wood sort of stylings rather than using, white wall sort of things. So I will check back in once I've come up with some sort of shape and a block palette. Okay. So I've picked up a general palette that I'm going to be using here. So just sort of your bricks and granite for most of the wall stuff. And I've got some darker blocks here. This is black concrete. I may or may not be using this. I might just stick with mostly the blackstone sort of colors. And I'm going to be using a lot of oak for any detailing. I might add some sort of other highlight color. I'm not too sure. And this is the top of a beehive that I'll probably use a fair amount of just for the flooring. Now, I haven't built a general shape because it occurred to me that it's going to be really useful for me to figure out what sort of size I want chairs and that sort of stuff, because that will severely limit what I'm going to be able to do with the outside. Oh, well, if I do the outside first, the inside is going to be much harder because I'm going to run out of space very quickly. So that's why I'm going to start with figuring out, as I said, chairs, tables, and just what level of detail I want to be able to put into this. Because if I make it fairly small, you can't fit nearly as much detail in because you can really only work in quarter block spaces in most cases, sometimes even less than that. Well, I mean, more space, less detail. So I'm going to try and design a couple of those sorts of things, and then I'll get back to you when that's done. Here is the sort of scale I'm going to be working with. The actual block specifics of whether I'll be using these specific block palettes, I'm not too sure about. But this scale I think should be okay, and it gets the point across. So I'm thinking this could be some sort of, bar that you can sit at. Perhaps you've got bartenders through here and then a checkout on this side. But I'll figure that out once I actually build the exterior. So I'm going to put in a general shape for this build, and I might even put some of these in side of that build just to make sure that it's not way too small or alternatively way too big. So I will check back in once I've done that. So here is the uh, layout that I'm going to go with here. Um, it's going to have two sections. It's going to have an outdoor veranda section and an indoor sort of bar slash booth section that's through here. As I said over there as well, these aren't going to be the actual colors I use most likely, but it's just sort of a general idea. I don't think I'm going to bother putting in an extra section for where a kitchen would actually be. But if I did, it would probably be some sort of smaller section, perhaps along here, and just put some, furnaces, smokers. I don't know. I might do that. Probably not, though. So what I'm going to work on now is just figuring out the general idea and pattern of what I'm going to be doing with all of these blocks that I've got through here. And then I will check back in when that's done. In the wall structure, and I'm quite pleased with how this is going at the moment. This wall is very plain. I will probably do a similar trick to what I did over there at the convenience store, where you can see I just sort of put a bunch of leaves down and it worked. So I'm probably going to do something similar. I've put a few little details in terms of adding depth. So I've got this 2 block space here, and all of these walls go out one further. It's not the same sort of color combination that I had originally envisioned, where I was expecting the blacks and stuff to just sort of be supplementary colors, but it seems like it's sort of functions as the main color, while the bricks feel a little bit more like a highlight color. Perhaps they complement each other. I'm not sure. It's not exactly what I expected, but I like it. I've tried out something here with the floor. I'm not sure if I like it. I'm going to go with it for the moment, but if I come up with a better idea, I will switch to it. I really like this beehive texture, but it's just very, very white compared to everything else. It's significantly lighter. Um, Originally, I just had the beehives in this alternating pattern here, and there's such a huge contrast between the beehive color and all these other colors I've got going on through here. So a little bit too vibrant. I added the spruce trapdoors and that helps, but it is, I don't know, I just think it doesn't quite fit the mood, so I might swap it to something slightly different. But the next stage I'm going to work on is trying to get a roof on this. I'm probably just going to go for a very simple roof, nothing too complicated. Probably not too high even. I sort of want this to feel fairly enclosed, a very cozy sort of area. So I might even just go one block up from this and do the roof at this level here. So only a 4 block high on a 5 block high roof on the interior. We will see. But I will show you when that's done. Okie dokie then. I've put in the roof on the interior side, and I put some lighting up here, just some chains and lanterns, and this is polished blackstone wall, string lights, and some oak trapdoors. This roof is deep slate tile. This is actually the bottom of smithing tables, and this is the bottom of composters, which is actually quite a nice texture, especially for roofing stuff. So I've done that. I've also put the flooring all the way around. As I said, I still don't know if I'm going to be keeping this all the way, but thought it would be better to at least get it in. From the outside, the roof is most certainly not done. It doesn't look very good at all, but I will deal with that probably after I have done this section through here, which is the next stage, which is actually to work on this outdoor seating area. I'm not fully sure how I'm going to be doing this, but obviously the first step is getting rid of all this yellow terracotta that I used to plan out the space. So I'll figure out both probably what I'm going to do for flooring, which it's probably not going to be continuing with this. It might just be like stripped oak logs or spruce logs or something like that, functioning as sort of a like floorboards rather than this sort of patterned flooring that I've got going on through here. But I will show you when that's done. Balcony is done, I would say. I didn't want to make it too complicated because the more you put out here, the less realistic it seems, I suppose, because it's out facing the elements. So I'd say the interior is pretty much done. I've got a few last little bits of detailing, adding some greenery around, but other than that, I call it done. However, the outside, the roof specifically, does not look good, either on the balcony side or on the main side. So I'm going to figure out some way to clean this up a bit. Perhaps do something similar to what I did, I think over there, with the convenience store, where I have actually something on the roof. I'm not too sure, but I will definitely be cleaning this up. So, I have put the roof on the build. It is a very simple roof, but I think it works out quite well. And from sort of a eye height from a ways away, I think it works better than if I was going to do something fancy like I've done over here with, the library having a 45-degree angle on it. So, I think it's worked out quite well. It hasn't impacted the inside at all, and it's basically just a couple of these sorts of 1 block indents, and then I've got a half block indent through here, and then it just goes to a flat deep slate tile thing. I decided to go with deep slate tile rather than the blackstone, just because why not, I suppose. It didn't really make much difference because you're not going to see it particularly much anyway. So, next time you see this build, it will be finished. I'm just going to add a few finishing touches along the place, some greenery, especially along this side, which is still a very blank wall, and I'll show you when that's finished. The build is complete. So I did a very similar thing to what I did over at the convenience store. Put a little garbage bin and some leaves around the back here, and it fills up some of the space a bit. As far as some detailing, I did a bit of that work as well. Put some leaves down here, and did a lot of work behind the actual bar here because I realized it was basically empty. There was nothing back here, so I added a few things. These are supposed to be sort of like barrels full of alcoholic drinks, wine, perhaps beer. I don't drink, and just some shelves that, as usual, you can't really put anything there. So I did my best. This is supposed to be a sort of a teller where you can actually pay for your food. So I put a potted dark oak sapling because why not, and some paintings along here as well. But I think that's about it for today's build today. I hope you enjoyed. I know it's a bit different from the past couple of days, not being the fantasy style, but I think it still turned out quite nice. So as always, thank you very much.